This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System, taking place on Saturday, the 11th of March at the Falcon Center. The center number is BN 357 and the candidate is Saqib Chaudhary and the candidate number is 435641. The examiner is Munzareen Shahid and the examiner number is 433715. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What is your full name, please?
My name is Saqib Chaudhary.
All right, and what should I call you?
You can call me Saqib.
All right, Saqib. May I see your identification, please?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, thank you. So in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk a little bit about hobbies.
Sure.
Do you have any hobby?
Yes, I have a hobby. I love to travel. Even though nowadays there's always a lot on my plate and I barely get the opportunity to travel, but in my university life, it was kind of a regular event for me. Like I had a tuition, the salary of which was dedicated solely for my travel expenses. And whenever I got a vacation, I used to go somewhere to visit. And I have visited almost all the tourist destinations of Bangladesh, and I have already visited India a couple of times, even though I couldn't travel further, but I have some plans to go beyond India.
All right. So particularly, since you spoke about traveling, what kinds of equipment do you think you need most for it?
Currently, all I have is a travel bag, but I think if I had a DSLR camera and a drone, that would be great, because I have a dream to be a travel vlogger, and I would love to have a YouTube channel where I could show my travel experiences to other people. So yeah, currently I don't have them, but yeah, I would love to have them.
All right. Do you think hobbies are something that you can share with other people?
Yes, I think hobby is something that you can share, because when you find a person with whom your choices match, you will get a lot of things to talk to, and that person will be able to understand your exact feelings. And yeah, you would love to share your experiences with him particularly. So yeah, you can talk about your travel experiences. For example, in case of me, I can share my travel experiences with one of my friends. Probably he or she is not willing to travel that much, so he won't get the feeling that I get. So yeah, that's why I think it is kind of important to find someone with whom you can share. And also, like, if it is traveling, you need some friends with whom you can travel, right? So yeah.
All right. Did you have a hobby as a child?
Yeah, in my childhood, I loved to read. So I was member of 2 libraries at the same time, and from those libraries you could borrow a book by paying 5 taka each. So every day I would borrow 2 books and try to complete as much as I can. And I can still remember that on the summer vacations I would read 2 books a day. So yeah, it was a good experience for me, but unfortunately after SSC I bought my computer and then I got addicted to movies, and nowadays I read books once in a blue moon. But yeah, it was a hobby that I really cherish and would love to get back.
All right. So let us talk a little bit about hobbies that are popular in your country. What kind of hobbies do you think are popular in your country?
There are a plethora of hobbies that my countrymen pursue, but I think traveling is probably the most common one, because there are a good number of tourist destinations here in Bangladesh, but on vacations, most of them, I would say all of them gets crowded, and sometimes it's so crowded that you can't even enjoy. But even that can't stop those my people from traveling those places. And nowadays there is a new trend among the younger generation that they prefer to travel beyond Bangladesh. And yeah, I see a lot of my friends, they are visiting India, Nepal, Bhutan. So yeah, I think traveling is the most common hobby of my people.
All right. Why do you think people have hobbies?
I think people need something doing which they can really freshen up. Like we have a lot of things to do in our daily life. For example, if you are a student, you have to study day long, and if you are a service holder, you have to do your jobs. So we need some place where we can actually breathe and be by ourselves. So that's why I think people should have a hobby doing which he actually get some pleasure. So yeah, that's why I think hobbies are important.
I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can even make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Sure.
All right. Here you go. And here is your pencil.
Thank you.
You have 1 minute to make notes and think about what you're going to say. All right, thank you. So your topic is that I want you to describe a time when you first talked in a foreign language. You have 2 minutes to speak on this topic, so don't worry if I stop you when the time is up. Could you start speaking?
Yeah, sure. So, English is our official language, but even though we have been learning English since our childhood, speaking has never been our cup of tea. And it is so common in Bangladesh that most of the people, we don't have we are not accustomed to speaking in English. So it is also true for me as well. In my university, the medium of instruction was English, but I never had to speak in English. So when after my graduation, I sat for an interview in a job fair, that was the first time when I had to speak in English. So the HR started asking me some questions, and it was some normal questions like, why do you want to join this company? Where do you want to see yourself 10 years from now? Questions like that. So yeah, I should be able to answer them, but I couldn't. I have always been used to English. I watch a lot of English movies and series, and I read English novels, but I never had to speak. So what happened is my legs started shaking and my voice was cracking and I was sweating even though there was AC in the room. So I was feeling humiliated, and what made the situation even worse was that I looked at the HR and she was smiling at me. So I felt awkward and humiliated, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't get the job. But the incident, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for me, because since my childhood I always had this intention to go abroad for my higher studies. But after that interview, I had the epiphany that I need to work on my English, otherwise it would be difficult for me because I would have to sit for IELTS. So since then I started working on it. I joined some groups and I made some friends with whom I can talk in English. I also installed some apps where you can stay anonymous and you can talk with people from other countries anonymously. So even at the beginning I was feeling afraid.
All right, so I'm going to stop you there. So now I'm going to ask you a few general questions about learning a foreign language. First of all, at what age do you think children should start learning a foreign language?
I think children should start learning a foreign language from a very early age, because it is easy for a children to learn a language compared to an adult. Because when you were children, you were learning from the environment and you were learning passively. So you are not memorizing any rules and regulations. You are just hearing everything and watching everything and learning things naturally. But when you are an adult, you have to go through the rules, the grammars, and you have to memorize a lot of things. And yeah, that's how you have to learn. And I think that is a bit difficult. So yeah, I think it is better to start learning at a very early age as a children.
All right. Which skill do you think is more important, speaking or writing?
I think both of them are important because they have their uses, but speaking is kind of mandatory. For example, if someone is in a foreign country and if he doesn't know to write, probably he will be able to survive. But if he doesn't know how to communicate with that particular country's citizen, it would be difficult. Because for example, if he were in a bus, he needs to talk with the people in the bus, probably the bus driver or the person who is cutting the ticket. So yeah, he won't ever write to that person, right? He has to speak with him. So I think speaking is more important. But when you know, when you are accustomed to speaking in a language, you will be able to write. So it's so natural. So I think they both comes hand in hand. So if you learn one thing, you will naturally learn another. But yeah, to me, speaking is more important.
All right. Does a person still need to learn another language if he is good in English?
Yes, I think, but it depends. From my experience, I have a plan to go to Germany for my higher education. So currently I am learning German because it is difficult for me. It will be difficult for me to survive there without the knowledge of German. But if a person who has no interest in shifting somewhere else where the language is not his native language or English, in that case probably he doesn't need to. But if someone has a plan, I think, yeah, in that case it will be mandatory for him, because in all the countries the people, they prefer that the foreigners who are visiting their country knows their language. So yeah, in that case it will be easier for him to settle in there.
All right. Now, last question for you. Do you think minority languages are at a risk of disappearing?
Yes, I think so, because nowadays English is dominating, and in all the countries English is being the official language and the most dominant language. And even if I look at Bangla, which is my my native language, when someone from my country has been living in, for example, in USA for a longer period of time, I see that they are more comfortable in speaking in English rather than Bangla. So if that can happen to a language like Bangla, which is one of the highest spoken language in the world, what can happen to the languages which are at the age of extinction? So I think, yeah, they are at a risk.
All right. Thank you so much, Saqib.
Yeah.
This is the end of the IELTS speaking test.